We're not against rap. We're not against rappers. But we are against those.
Something big about to happen. I hear the beat tapping. We some fly rhyming felines rapping on the track. Better yet, grab a gat, cause we hot like Enzo. Doors closed, windows up, cause that's the way we like to ride. Windy City hitting. Check mic 1 2 1 2. We live, baby.
Hey, what's up, Chicago? And welcome back to Speak Your Mind Radio. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Queen Star, aka Ms. Hip Hop. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking to Pink the Wordsmith about his 7th mixtape, Brief Intermission, and the method behind this man's music, because it's awesome. So, you guys, without further ado, bringing up next to the mic, Pink the Wordsmith. How you doing?
I'm doing good. That was a great intro.
Why, thank you. Well, thank you for being here today. I do appreciate it. And as you know, here at Speak Your Mind Radio, we do a traditional icebreaker question for all the artists. So let's get started. Who's an underrated producer or MC that you think deserves more shine?
Alrighty. So this is really just going to be a cliche and very, very obvious answer. I gotta choose somebody from the tribe. I gotta go with DJ Glassheart or any of the other guys like Baby Baby or Three Below, because I feel like everybody within our own collective is like the way that we blend like sound and idea under like one cohesive like theme of just Viva. I think that is amazing.
Definitely amazing. And you guys do have like a good circle of creatives that do like this awesome thing with this music. It's something I've never heard before. It's different. It's unique. You know what I'm saying? I had a call. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, like I said, it's just very unique when you're listening to it, And DJ, shout out to DJ Glassheart. Absolutely
sure.
Love him for sure. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Okay, my phone keep ringing. I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah, but shout out to DJ Glassheart for coming on the show 2 months ago, and he actually told me about you, and I'm glad he did because I get to meet the rest of the tribe.
For sure, because I will say the group chat was talking yesterday, so it's like you will be expecting either the last two members at some point in time.
Oh man, I look forward to it. Okay, so why don't you take the time out to reintroduce yourself to everyone out there and tell them where you're from and what motivates you to do music daily?
So brief introduction of me. So I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, because my dad was in the Navy, but we ended up moving back to where my mom and dad was from in Cuthbert, Georgia. So I was raised in a very small town, Southwest Georgia, no more than about like 2,500 people. Very, very small. But my influence for music, I wouldn't even really call it music. I would say it's art, because it's like an extension of myself, really. Because like what I write about in my poetry is no different from the things I would write in my research papers in school. So it's like everything is connected to the same goal of like, how can we liberate the mind? How can we create healthier communities for our people?
Oh man, that's freaking awesome. I'm always talking about mental health this, mental health that, and you just kind of pinpointed it right there. You know what I'm saying? When I was listening to Brief Intermission, I thought about all the times I had hosted and gone to open mics and all these different walks of life getting on stage, expressing themselves in different ways. And that's what your mixtape reminded me of.
Yeah, because I would say it's more so spoken word. So just going back to Ricky's Renaissance, I'll never forget, like, I had the first person who ever kind of like reviewed that mixtape. It kind of threw me off a little bit because I had to understand like what he was trying to express to me. But he had said if he was just reading it straight up without listening to it, then it would be amazing. And that kind of like drove me to kind of like, all right, how can I make this just as good as poetry as it is to listen to as a rap? So that's really just what's been grinding. That's really what's been putting a battery in my back, basically. Like, all right, how can I make this message palatable?
Wow, I love the I like the way you express yourself. The battery in the back motivated you to continue to express yourself in a unique way. I know I keep saying unique, but that's just what it is to me, you know?
Yeah, because it's like one thing about it is I'm like the typical Earl or Mike comparison. It really just doesn't resonate because I done heard somebody say, "Oh, you sound like RX nephew" or something like that. Because it's like the way when people hear my music, they try to describe it as somebody they heard before, but it's like no disrespect to anybody, but it's like you can't because that's something I'm big on. It's like how can I make music that sounds exactly how I talk? So that's really how I got my sound and just being at it every day. It's like me just talking my inner thoughts, basically.
Yeah, most definitely. Speaking of which, I was going to save this question, but I guess I go ahead and ask you now. Um, how would you describe your music to a person they couldn't hear, but they could see? Like, what type of energy or experience would they be feeling?
I would, if you said if they can't hear but they can see, like what would they be able to see? They just going back to the principles of B, but they would be able to see like a universe where peace and love is persistent, a place where blackness can exist without constraint, like a place almost like utopia, but a more specific word is Zion. Like whatever you think Zion looks like to you, that's what I think my music sounds like.
Wow, that was a beautiful answer. Okay. That's cool. All right. So like when you are in your creative zone, what's the one thing about music that keeps your passion alive?
Uh, I was just thinking about this the other day about like the discussion whether art imitates life or life imitates art. But I think art and life are synonymous because at the root of both of those is creation and intention. So that's really how I do it because a lot of my music to this day, I'm just in my hot box. That's literally how I create everything because it just keeps me grounded. It keeps me rooted. It's like I'm not doing nothing too crazy. It's just I found a process that just works for me and I can do it consistently. Like it doesn't take too much time out of my day. Like I already do smoke a lot. So it's like I'm not doing so it's like I'm being productive. So it's like it's a win-win, two birds with one stone kind of situation.
Definitely. I love that concept. It just, yeah, I mean, it just shows that that's your passion and that's not something that takes up a lot of your time and you feel natural at making music. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, there's that question. Okay. Let's actually jump into the music now.
Sure.
Brief intermission. First, I got to ask you, how did you come up with that title? Because the way you spell it is all lowercase and it's "and brief intermission." It sounds like a movie.
Well, that's how it was to me because me and Glass had this conversation like a life, like, oh, you need to drop more because all of the music is in chronological order. So brief intermission was kind of the brief intermission was the disruption of the canon. So it was like I was in the midst of getting ready to drop Play-Doh, which now got pushed back in 7 days, which took me a long time to find the cover art. And it was this producer by the name of Scud. He just kept sending me beats on beats, and it's like, all right, this is not the typical Bieber sound, but it's like I have beats, I have the time. So brief intermission is that disruption. It's like, okay, it's okay to take a break from what you thought was the plan. It's like, how can you accept like a detour and make it the path? And that's really what brief intermission was to me because it just shows where I'm at now. Yeah.
That's cold cut. I get it. And you know, one thing I like about you so far is that you take, I don't want to say constructive criticism because I don't really like that terminology, but you take advice subtly. Like you think about it. You don't just let it, nah, that ain't me. I ain't doing that. You really think about it. Like, how can I make this better in interpretation through my music? And that's cool. I don't know. I just like that about you, because you're not like, got a chip on your shoulder because somebody didn't understand it. You know what I mean?
Basically, and it's not that I'm trying to make people understand what got going on, because it's like, if it's for you, I'm just trying to open more doors. So it's like, if this is something you like, I'm just trying to reach as many people as possible. Because the thing about the beat selection, each beat selection comes with a different audience. So it's like, if you rock with that audience, I can take my same message and place on this beat. Because what's crazy, the other day, it was this producer, it was more like some Lucky type beats, like some trap, or like with some heavy 808s. We don't even use 808s, but I'm starting to rap on those now and get the same message across. So it's like, I'm just trying to reach the people wherever they at.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely along that tribe of people, because I do like your music. So yeah. You're welcome. I wanted to ask you, I actually wanted to ask you about the different producers that you worked with. Like, I know my homeboy DJ Glassheart, but what about the other ones and the features too? Like, can you describe the relationship between you all, because it just meshes so well together?
So I'll start with Akko Slice. So Akko Slice was the real reason why Brief Intermission happened, because the intro song That Choice. So when That Choice beat came in, I was like, all right, now I got to make a tape. Because even though Scud has most of the production on the tape, that Akko Slice beat was the catalyst. Like, all right, I got something here. Now I got to get in that mode and try to like sequence the track list. But it's just people I've found on the internet. It's just like, we connected with this same ideology. Because for me, knowing that I'm a broke college student, it's like, the currency isn't money, it's love of art. And it's like, if you have that same love of art and we can connect on that basis, then we're good in my books. Because I feel like if I really want to change the future of how we work within our communities, it's like, it can't be transactional. It's like, we both really got to believe in what we're doing can make something better, have some kind of impact. So in short, just meeting Scud and Akko Slice over the internet, it's just like, we connected over the love of art.
Oh man, that's beautiful. Chemistry is one hell of a drug, isn't it?
It is, and it's like, I ain't gonna hold you, Scud made me fall back in love again with music, because it was like, not that I was starting to lose passion, but it was like, this is something I can find myself falling in love with over and over and over again. It's like, I can see myself doing this for a long time.
Oh man, that is so cool. So what's the first song you did fall in love with?
Okay, so this is a very tough one, because I'll say it's three choices. Even though they all on different albums, they was probably made around the same time. But I'll start with UBI, because that was me and Glass' first song. He hopped on there, he said Viva Classic, and then every time I just hear that song, it takes me back, because he showed it to his mother. The mother rock with it, then it's like, we got something good going on. That was one of those first ones where it's like, this connection is special. But for me, it either has to be like Mike Bibby or Everything. That's the song that kind of got me and my father's relationship back on track. And I was very on edge. I was like, I don't know if I should drop this. This is very personal, and everything is on Therapy Ain't Free. And then my father, he told me, he was like, this is the kind of message that people need to hear. It's like, you don't know what could happen from this. And that was in January. And I was like, all right, I gotta put this out here now. So, and Mike Bibby, even though it's older, it relates to where I'm at now with how political and the messages I place within my music is like crazy. I can look back at the first mixtape and was like, I always been in the same type of time. It's just, I know how to express it better now.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay. You're gonna have to send me some of those tracks, especially the ones that your father said that people need to really hear. I wanna listen too. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so oh yeah, I wanted to ask you, what is the story behind your email address? I've been wanting to ask you that.
Okay, so my original artist name wasn't Pink the Wordsmith. So it's like right before Ricky's Renaissance, that's when I was starting to go by Pink the Wordsmith. But before I started uploading content, anything like that, I thought of myself as Glowing Pink because fun fact, if I could actually genuinely sing, I'd probably be making like some pop music or like some Steve Lacy. Cause it was like Glowing Pink was just that aura, the vibe of pink, and it's just like shining within femininity and just like the softness of self. So that's really where Glowing Pink started. And then from Glowing Pink, you have Pink the Wordsmith. Because I always think about the future and I feel like Pink the Wordsmith just sounds like some classic artist. Like it's just like, oh, Pink the Wordsmith, I got to click on that. But
Period.
Glowing Pink was just like the fun energy, and it was like, oh, this is serious now. So let's pivot a little bit.
Okay, I like that. That is kind of like your aura, like that word and pink, and it's glowing. And I mean, although that's not your stage name, but it does give the aura of it, and I like that. So
And I feel like I should just keep it because it's like a little breadcrumb.
yes, a little breadcrumb to your future. And speaking of your future, where do you see yourself in? Yeah, a year from now.
A year from now, well, plans have changed for me because it's like since my freshman year of college, I was like, oh yeah, I'm finna go to Peace Corps. Then after Peace Corps, I'm going to grad school. I did get accepted into Peace Corps for the Eastern Caribbean, but the way it's looking now, I'm just gonna go to grad school instead of Peace Corps. Just go ahead and like fast track my life because I feel like something within me is telling me I'm ready for that next step, and it's like Peace Corps is kind of like a buffer because that's a 2 year international service project. I would have been in the Eastern Caribbean. I'll still be doing the same work I want to do, but it was still like a buffer. It was like holding me back in a way. So, yeah, public health grad school is where I would see myself within the next year, just taking those next steps within the policy space.
That sounds good. That sounds productive. And, I know by then you'll have more music out, and by then we'll be here bigger and better. And, you got a spot back on the show again so we can talk about your developments.
Indeed, because it's like I was saying earlier, it's like the art and music that I make is no different from Murphy, the scholar. It's like, because the way I would say is like when you get in these academic spaces, it's like you gotta say stuff a certain way. It's like you gotta frame it a certain way. But when it comes to poetry, it's like I can genuinely say whatever I want. It's like not a different message, but it's like I can say how I would naturally want to say it. So it's like different entry levels. So it's like if you want to get into like the grad journals and those type of things, you can get that message. But if you just want to hear some music that's also empowering, you can do that as well.
Definitely, definitely. Your music reminds me also of like subliminal messages.
Yes,
So
I'm a communication studies major. That's really why I started making music because I was in media, society, and culture, and we was having this discussion about how microwave our society is. It's like I was really thinking for our generation, it's like we have good music, we have good art, but it's like in 10 years from now, what's really gonna hold? Because everything is for TikTok, everything is for social media. So it's like I'm all big on legacy. It's like I want to have the opportunity to shape the future that we're walking towards. And it's like that was my opportunity. So yes, very subliminal messages. And if I ever get back around to there are songs where I directly drop like the ideologies and theories that I actually am using within my music. So that's coming at some point.
yeah, okay, that was definitely on point. Before we get out of here, I want to tell you my thoughts on a brief intermission. Um, I took out a couple of standout tracks, and one of them was actually number one, That Choice. The other one was, I think I'm saying it right, 32 MO, like 32 months.
No, 32 more, because it's another breadcrumb. So, in the first 32, that was the Echo Slice beat. The last bar I was saying was like, more please. So then when I found the Scud beat that sounded like it flowed after disco, I was like, all right, I got you 32 more bars, because that was a technical song. Because a technical rap verse is 16 bars. So that's how it's called 32, because it's two 16s. So it's 32 more. So yeah,
Okay, you put a little math in there. I see. Okay,
a little bit, just a little bit.
a little bit. Okay. The other song standout track for me was the bonus track with Groove Up, and it was produced by DJ Glassheart. I thought that was dope too. Overall, I want to say I'm getting my notes out. This
Oh,
this mixtape for me gets 5 mics, one for creativity, production wise, uniqueness, energy, and reflectiveness. And I say reflectiveness subtly because the nostalgical feeling it gave me with all the layered imagery underneath your words, I guess that's shout out to the producers, you know what I'm saying? Also, I just want to say the cover art was pretty cool too. It kind of, I don't know, it reminded me of something, don't laugh, but it kind of reminded me of like the 60s a little bit, because the beings were like dancing around and stuff, or something like tribal almost. So that's my feedback on your mixtape.
yeah, and I feel like all of that really resonated with how I went into the project, because it's like I'm not very like a dancing type of person. And it's kind of, no, it's kind of ironic, because we was also talking about how mind-boggling the collective consciousness is, because it's like Tyler the Creator just had to drop "Don't Tap the Glass," and it was like, it don't matter, that's completely different. But that's kind of like the same energy, like let's just dance, let's get back in the community, let's like find music that we love. It's just like that energy, like all the different disco style beats and all like the upbeat tempo. Cause it's like I'm typically on beats where I rap slower. It's more meditative. It's more like that type of wave. But this is like, all right, I'm actually sitting up for it. I'm laughing more. I'm smiling. It's like joy in the creations I make, because at the beginning of my music had to catch up to my life. But once it caught up to my life, it's like, what do I want to write about? What stories do I want to tell? And Brief Intermission was just like the culmination of what's to come and what would be.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, I hope that there is more to come from you,
Oh,
because
indeed.
I'm just saying, because you got something, bro.
I'm over here scheming like an architect. It's like, because when I was in the process of my fraternity, it was like setting goals for the year. So the goals I set for myself was, I think it was minimum 10 mixtapes this year. If you pay attention to how many tapes Viva and myself dropped, we're getting very close. And it's like, you know how when you're in theater and plays, it's like when the final act comes, the crescendo, we
Yeah.
get fourth quarter of Viva gonna be something serious.
Oh my God, it's gonna be heating up. I can feel it now.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Can you please tell everybody right now where they can follow your journey and listen to your 7th studio mixtape and Brief Intermission?
So Pink the Wordsmith, PinkTheWordsmith everywhere. Because I just wanted to have like uniform branding. And luckily my name was unique enough, I ain't have to add numbers. So just Pink the Wordsmith on every single platform. Wherever you can find your music at, whatever social media platform you're on, I'm there. Except for Facebook and Twitter. Other than that, everywhere.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Pink the Wordsmith. I really appreciate you coming on today's show. I had fun talking to you. And like I said, I can't wait till that year mark comes up and we can do this again.
Would do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Talk to you later.
Alrighty.
Peace.